It's a simple uniform, but it's a good-looking uniform. It's sharp.
Every weekday from 12 to 2, only on ESPN 95.3.
Sometimes a weak heart can give you strength you never knew you had.
When I first found out I had the heart condition, one of the first things that went through my mind was, I'm going to die young.
After overcoming a heart condition that kept her from pursuing her passions, the heart team at Baptist Health helped her prove you don't have to be invincible to be incredible.
I never think anymore about what I can't do.
Keep on inspiring. Keep on striving. Keep on amazing. To schedule an appointment with a physician, call 1-888-BAPTIST.
Bush Machine and Tractor at 7301 0 Street in Fort Smith is your one-stop shop for tractors, lawnmowers, and implements. Choose from Massey, Ferguson, Branson, and TYM tractors. Implements from Woods, Battle Armor, and Modern Ag. Find a Gravely commercial mower and get the job done mile after mile and season after season. Bush Machine and Tractor is your #1 Branson dealer in Arkansas and works on all brands of tractors and mowers. Come see us or check out all our inventory at bushtractor.com.
When's the last time you did date night at Doe's? Doe's Steakhouse always has the charm and great atmosphere. Plus, the area's largest selection of in-stock wines. And all of the award-winning steaks at Doe's are perfect for sharing. And there's no charge for an extra side or salad when you share. Doe's is proud to be the premier steakhouse in Fort Smith at 422 North 3rd. Open 5 till 9 Monday through Thursday and 5 till 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. So make it a date night at Doe's for a great experience every time.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
At Brankrow Furniture, we have always been involved in supporting and giving back to our community. During the recent historic flooding, many people and their families have been affected, and we continue to keep you in our prayers here at Brankrow Furniture. We want to help by offering no sales tax, free delivery, and sell at discounted prices. We can also store your purchase until you're ready for delivery and setup. May God bless you and God bless America. Frank Roll Furniture, your Made in the USA headquarters. Best seats in the house.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Partly to mostly sunny sky today. Our high temperatures this afternoon, upper 80s to near 90. Mainly clear to partly cloudy tonight. And overnight low mid-60s north, low 70s south. Could see some isolated showers or storms for Saturday. Our high temperatures into the upper 80s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 50 days.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers. I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Your show was really, really good, guys.
2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown. How about that Heisman, Mark Jones? How do you like it? Wide open again.
All right, hold on. It's almost halftime.
Well, I guess this is the last day of the offseason, right? Wouldn't that be the truth? If football season really begins when SEC Media Days start, then we've got 1 day left. So, Tye Richardson, it's time for you to change that countdown that you started at 100 to 1. I know it's 50 days until kickoff of the opener against Portland State, but really, I mean, I know it's talking season that starts next week. So what have we been doing for the last 3 weeks since the College World Series ended?
Doing some talking, Phil.
We've been doing a lot of talking, which will continue tomorrow. Not tomorrow. I'm actually zipping my lips tomorrow because it's Saturday. I don't have to say a darn thing tomorrow. Oh, I guess I'll have to, say something to my kids. And other than that, I'm not flapping any gums. But I guess when you're talking about the off season and the so-called Rushmore season, which we've been joking about quite a bit, that's where you're looking to find areas of conversation that really don't have much to do with what you'll be talking about the other 47 weeks-ish throughout the season. Basketball, football, baseball, with a heavy bent on how the Arkansas Razorbacks are doing at all those sports. But that's what we're talking about next week, how Arkansas football may be shaping up. And that's what we'll be talking about with the other 13 teams as well in the best league in college football. So Tye's getting his bags packed and ready to go Monday through Wednesday next week. Should be a lot of fun. Got, of course, Chad Morris talking 9 o'clock in the morning through 1 o'clock in the afternoon next Wednesday. And there'll be plenty of questions sent his way about a better performance of the offense. Obviously, I think there's going to be a pretty heavy increase in the thumbs up, so to speak, for the Arkansas offense this next season. My main question really is a lot about the defense, whether or not that can be much of an improvement. But we want to get your opinion throughout our show. We've got our phone line and our text line. It's identical. We ask that if you do text us, that please give us your name and your location where you're listening in. And don't send a text from the road unless you're asking Siri or whatever other named artificial intelligence sends the text for you. That number, 877-377-6963. Again, to get your voice or your text message on our radio show here, 877-377-6963. I'm Phil Elson, Tye Richardson in studio. And, there's a lot of talk about how Arkansas football will improve this next season, specifically at the wide receiver position. And remember, I forget when we had the conversation was with the old redhead back. Was it in March? Was it in March that we had Clint Sterner on with us? I remember sitting I think I was in the ballroom in the Greenville Hotel, so that must have been SEC women's basketball tournament. Must have been early March.
And he was talking about it's one thing to have a really good quarterback, but the wordage and the verbiage that he used, you got to have some dudes. That's what he kept coming back to over and over again. And he had some dudes with Anthony Lucas and some others, and you look like, based on the caliber of stars given to this recruiting class at the wide receiver position, that you got some dudes. It's another thing to come in as a dude in high school. It's a completely another thing to transform into a college-level wide receiver. And that's what's being asked, not in year 2, not in year 3, but in year 1 of these guys.
And really there are a lot of positions on the offensive side of the ball that could get much, much better. I think the two positions of strength that are returning from last year are at tight end and at running back, where obviously Cheyenne O'Grady is coming off an outstanding season. There's Hudson Henry, who's going to be hopefully doing big things, and maybe Austin Cantrell returning as well at tight end. That's probably overall the best position for Arkansas. It's just how much production do you get from the tight end. The running backs are looking good as long as you're going to stay healthy. Devois Whaley and Rakeem Boyd maybe splitting duties at running back. Chase Hayden coming on, and then there's the other positions. And when Clint was talking about the timing that it takes in order for an offense, any offense really, to succeed, but I think specifically in the Chad Morris offense, there's the idea of breaking down the blocks quickly, which forces your quarterback into making quicker throws than he's hoping to make it in, and then wide receivers that have trouble separating from the defensive backs. All these three things go together. I would expect there's going to be a pretty noticeable uptick in quarterback play. I hesitate to use the word production just yet, but I think that there's an uptick in at least talent and knowledge of the Joe Craddock, Chad Morris offense, with Ben Hicks and Nick Starkel competing for probably every snap this upcoming season. I think that the offensive line should be better.
Can it get much worse based on what you saw last season?
That's the next thing I was going to say. I know you're losing 3 starters, and a lot of publications are pointing to the idea that it was a bad offensive line, and they're losing 3 starters, so that means they're going to get worse. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think this offensive line gets better, and then there's the idea of the wide receiver position. which that was the one that Clint kind of pointed at. And I don't think he did that just because he was a quarterback. And, you know, a quarterback sometimes will point the finger at the other end of the battery for not being there when he was supposed to be to separate and be there for a well-thrown ball. But I think it's obvious that when you look at the incoming class, and maybe not just the incoming class, but maybe some other players that are still on this team that we haven't really been able to see much for the last year or two because of injuries, that you're going to get a pretty noticeable uptick in talent at that position too. Speed, size, strength. These things, Ty, should mean separation, right? Which with a well-thrown ball with the right amount of time should lead to more receptions for wide receivers than they got last year, which, by the way, the receivers caught maybe about a half of the total receptions thrown by Arkansas quarterbacks last year. That number's got to tick up way a bit.
If I remember correctly, I don't know if there was a receiver that exceeded 30 catches on the year, which is a staggering statistic if you think about some of the great football teams Arkansas has had over the year, and that those typically coincide with having a good wide receiver quarterback duo. That being said, you saw what you had last season. Cole Kelly, Ty Story, they're gone. It looks like, just from the outside looking in, that the quarterback room has gotten better by addition and then also by subtraction, and then you bring these freshmen in. Phil, you alluded to it a little earlier. This offense is not exactly the easiest offense to learn. It's going to take some time for these guys to develop. And I was thinking about this a little bit last night and then some after the morning rush prepping for the show. What did Joe Adams, Greg Childs, and Jarius Wright do in their freshman season? So I compiled the stats. They had less than 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns as freshmen. Now, when you think about the different Arkansas fans that are listening to the program right now, and they think back to the great memories of Joe Adams, Jarius Wright, Greg Childs, Greg Williams, and others, they think of all the highlights, statistics, and everything they put up. You got to remember there's a waiting period, especially now in the SEC West, that it takes time to develop and become your pinnacle, your peak at your collegiate profession. It's not going to be like that these kids are just going to walk in and accumulate over 2,000 yards, 20 touchdowns, and throw out whatever number. This is not going to be that easy. And so I feel like, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm right, and it leads into our halftime poll question, are we putting too much pressure on these 2019 recruits? And I think particularly the wide receivers. And I know the quarterback room looks to be better, but Phil, it's not like you can just walk into the SEC West when you're going against All-American, All-SEC, potential NFL cornerbacks and safeties and just have your way for them coming out of high school not even a couple months ago. That just doesn't compute.
It would make you feel like you're expecting really big things from Trey Knox, and that goes from everything you've read about him, from the one play during the red-white scrimmage that brought everybody up out of their chairs. That's the one play anybody remembers from the red-white scrimmage. I don't think you remember anything else other than Trey Knox planting his foot in that. It was still turf then. It wasn't grass, right? I know Correct. They're growing the grass in Memphis right now, but that was actually the fake turf. And then sprinting upfield for a long touchdown. I forget how long it was, but it was pretty impressive to see.
39 yards, something like that.
Well, and then you see he's in, you got Trey Knox modeling the new uniform that was put out earlier this week. I think that's a little bit putting not a target on somebody, but it's almost like adding an extra little layer of expectations
Correct.
Upon the expectations that are already there. But and let's say Trey is the real thing. Let's say that as a freshman he is able to come out with a big season, which is so difficult to do as a freshman, really in any sport in this conference. That's why, to go to baseball from a couple of years ago, that's why the seasons that Casey Martin and Heston Kjerstad had in 2018 were really so shocking, because they were freshmen and came out of nowhere to hit SEC pitching like that. And I would put SEC pitching, the level of pitching there, up against the level of defensive back play in the SEC too. I mean, these are kids. I know that once you're drafted out of the college ranks into the NFL, you're then an NFL player. It takes a little longer to get to the major leagues, but I mean, look, already there are some guys that are pitching in the majors that Casey and Heston hit against 2 years ago. So to me, it's essentially the same thing. I think it's a little more difficult to make the impact in football, though, when size and strength, and you're not quite there, and size and strength means something in baseball, but in football it means just a little bit more.
We've stressed many times on this show that fanatic, the shortened term for it is fan, and it's not just applicable to Arkansas fans, but fans across the SEC and really any sport in general. I have seen certain Arkansas fans think that they're going to have the best wide receiver core in the SEC. Phil, it's not even close to the likes of Alabama with a guy like Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy. I mean, that wide receiver core is unbelievable. And now they're a few years older now. They have some studs that have gone through games, gone through the SEC West, and they were already coming out of high school the best in the country. And you're getting these 4-star, which is, again, I don't think Arkansas has ever had this many 4-stars in a recruiting class, particularly at the wide receiver position. But you don't even know if this group can live up to the 2008 group. You don't even know that. And so all these heightened expectations are being placed upon these guys. You mentioned the Trey Knox picture being taken in the Darren McFadden jersey with the uniform reveal. There is so much pressure that's being placed on this particular position group at wide receiver. We know the quarterback room better. But, Phil, it doesn't even matter if the quarterbacks have gotten better, because if you don't have an offensive line that can pass protect more than like 3 or 4 seconds, the wide receivers, unless they're just running hitch and crossing routes the whole time, they're not going to get the ball. And you can't be potent offensively if you can't block occasionally for a long pass play or a play action pass and go deep. If their quarterbacks are just going to sit on those on those easy 5-yard, 10-yard routes and just pick you off all day long. So it's a process that not only just from a coaching, but you got to make sure you get these guys time, not only just for the quarterback, but so the wide receivers can get open and catch the football.
Well, and there's only so many plays during a game that you can get these guys out there. And I think it'd be really interesting to look at. I mean, in this day and age, in college athletics, free agency, which is essentially what the transfer portal has become, out of the 4-star recruits that you've got right now coming in for the wide receiver position, Nash, Burks, Jackson, Knox, all 4 of those are not going to be with this team 2 years from now. Somebody's transferring out just because of the idea there's only so many balls that are available, only so many snaps that are available, and then the fact of sports alone that 100% of your 4-star recruits don't always work out. In fact, it's a pretty not minimal, but kind of a mid-range amount. Let's say 2 of these kids work out. All right, that would actually work well for you if 2 of these wide receivers that are coming in as the best wide receiver class ever in this program's history, if 2 of them work out, not as freshmen, but just over the course of their career, then you've done pretty well. You've done very well. And again, you're asking a lot of them this next season because what's returning? Mike Woods and Deion Stewart are your 2 top returning receivers from last season. I think with Deion, you kind of know what you're getting. He's a senior. What sort of improvement will he get? But I mean, he's a guy that can get you a few catches, just not necessarily breakaway speed. With Woods, there might be a little bit more on top of what you saw last year with potentially a stronger armed quarterback so he can use that speed. I'm very interested to see what Koylin Jackson is able to do. If he is able to win some playing time this upcoming season. Of course, he missed last year after the ACL tear. I feel like we haven't really gotten to see anything of what Koylin might be able to do. So, I mean, I know that he's a returner, but I feel like he's also brand new because it's been a while since he was out there. So that's another guy that I'll be paying pretty heavy attention to.
And he also, you're talking about transfers, Phil. You think about LaMichael Pedway going to Iowa State. You think about Nance going to Missouri. Those would have been guys that I think would have helped the process along of these younger guys coming in, just help them kind of accumulate to the game easier. But now they're kind of be thrown into the fire a little quicker, which can be good or bad depending on how you look at it. I know Justin Stepp, the wide receivers coach, has referred to this quote several times, talking about Trey Knox, that he needs to be in his sophomore year this upcoming season. He is referring to spring ball and I think Knox enrolled in spring ball and summer ball as his freshman year.
Sure.
And that this actual season ahead is going to be a sophomore year. And that just kind of adds to the idea that there's a lot of pressure on these kids to show up and show out. And you know what? That can be a good thing. Some guys live up for the pressure. Some guys really succeed in it. And one of the things that Chad Morris was able to recruit on was playing time. Based on the roster ahead of that we're looking at, and I think Davion Warren, you said, who'd you mention? You said Deion Stewart, you said Jordan Jones.
Mike Woods,
Jordan Jones. And
Tyson Morris.
Yeah, Davion Warren. There's a couple guys, but like there's potential galore for PT, Phil, for these guys to come in and maybe not necessarily be the stars that they could eventually be, but at least get in some stats, get in some games, get accumulated to the pressure day in, day out of playing in the SEC, because, again, it's not going to be like, regardless of how Trey Knox looks good off the bus at 6'5", 2 whatever he is, and just looks like a stud. We saw him in the D-Mac jersey. Just looks like an absolute manimal when it comes to wide receiver. And he may turn out to be that way, but you're just not going to be able to get that much production out of him freshman. I would be absolutely shocked, floored, whatever insert here word you want to use, if he were to get, I don't know, over 700 yards this year. I just don't see that. You just don't see that very often. You want him to. You just don't see that very often.
Do you think Knox starts game 1, Portland State?
He was, if I remember correctly, I might have to look at this depth chart real quick.
I think he will. I really think that the coaches are going to do everything they possibly can to highlight Trey Knox. And I think it started with the photo in the uniform on Monday.
I think he was listed as a starter. Now, I can't get into the differences of the wide receiver CQ or whatever they call him in Chad Morris' system, but I believe he was listed as a starter. Kind of funny tidbit, Phil. You know who the highest rated wide receiver is on NCAA football with updated rosters for 2019?
No, this hasn't been done by EA Sports yet. This is by some other person who did the ratings themselves.
So, yeah, they inserted them into EA Sports. I don't think EA Sports, it's an individual thing. I don't know the formula or how they do that, but Deion Stewart is actually the guy that's the highest rated Arkansas wide receiver. John actually was playing the game the other day and told me that. He was kind of puzzled and curious about that. But
well, that's because he's the leading returning receiver. I mean, he caught 22 passes. Nobody else that's returning caught more than 18. So, I mean, I think that's the only thing. I really don't think that whoever did that research did that much research into the skill set of Deion Stewart.
You also lost Jared Cornelius last year. I know he didn't end on a high note in his career at Arkansas, and there was a little disagreement about what he said with Cole Kelly fans booing and just kind of how he reacted to that. But this was a guy that was, at one time, a pretty darn good receiver for Arkansas. So you just lost a lot of talent, whether it was graduation or transferring from that position. And again, that goes back to this is a huge opportunity, what Chad Morris stressed to these guys when recruiting him, to get some playing time early at an SEC school in the toughest division in the country.
Cody from Athens, Arkansas, not Athens, Greece, texted in and says, pretty early last year we knew our season was going to be painful. If we drop a non-conference game this year, can we just go ahead and count ourselves out? Thanks. Well, yes, you can. Now, the question is, what are you counting on? What exactly are you counting Arkansas in on the SEC West race, on an improvement, on making a bowl game? Because I think the fact is, if you drop a non-conference game, you can count the bowl game out. Yes, no doubt about that. And you should. This is not a team. No SEC team should be losing to Portland State, to Colorado State, to San Jose State, or Western Kentucky, especially when all those games are in Fayetteville. You know, I'm not going to say it was an excuse for the loss to Colorado State last year, because that was a bad loss, but it was on the road. You shouldn't be losing to them at home. So, yes, I think you drop a non-conference game, go ahead and count yourself out. Again, I'm not exactly sure what it is that you're counting on, but very, very appreciative of the text. Corey. Also, Cody texts in and says, I know I'm a couple of days late, but we got that look back. Uniforms look great. Did he mean that look back or that wood, Ty? Because I thought we had that wood back.
Yeah, I sent him the wood back because that's the reference Darren McFadden made on the road in Baton Rouge, LSU 2007, and the bat that was carved out. I would love to see, and I know they don't use wooden bats they use metal bats or whatever. I would love to see Kerstad, Martin, or one of those guys use one of those bats sometime this year when they're playing. Go ahead.
Oh, you mean during Wooden Bat League when they're playing summer ball?
Yeah. Because they can't do it during the college baseball season, but just as like a tidbit or just a paying homage to what Darren McFadden was able to do in 2007 throughout his career, I think that would be a really cool tie-in for Arkansas baseball and Arkansas football.
You got some similarities between these programs now because you got wood with the football team. There is no wood with the baseball team, by the way. They're using metal bats. Baseball plays on grass. Football's going to be playing on grass. Just got to figure out a way to get those winning percentages a little closer together. Here's what we got coming up on halftime today before we go to the break. Otis Kirk is joining us. Bottom of hour number 1 out of Pig Trail Nation. And we've got Craig Stevenson of AL.com joining us in hour number 2. Stevenson wrote an interesting piece on AL.com about the time that Nick Saban was interested in the Texas Longhorns job, but that was thwarted by one Mac Brown. So that'll be an interesting conversation with Craig Stevenson in hour number 2. Plus your phone calls and your texts, 877-377-6963 on Pecan Pie Day. How do you say it? Pecan or pecan? I know that some people, it's like the hot dog is a sandwich or not a sandwich. This is one of those things we just like to fight about. By the way, if you own a business that needs more security or if you need more curb appeal for that business, a new fence from the Fence Man can give you both. The Fence Man specializes in custom installation. They've been doing it for over 40 years. Gates, controlled access card readers. Call the Fence Man for a quick, no-obligations quote. Call Henry at 479-782-3936. That's the Fence Man, a division of Quantum Property Services. Back after a break, halftime on a Friday on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime. This is the Morning Rush.
I'm still going to be a breast man, though. I'm just saying. Versatility is what I go for. The breasts are much more versatile.
Versatile?
On the chicken. Yeah, versatile. You can do a lot more with them. They're a lot more fun. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so there's the ending of our summer segment series here on food.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3.
Hey, football's just around the corner. It's time to get the TV all lined out, and the multi-sports pack is free right now when you sign up for Dish.
We have been a Dish dealer for almost 25 years, and we know when football is right around the corner, so we're announcing it now. Football is that close because you get the multi-sport pack free, which has all the regional sports channels in it, and more importantly, the all-important NFL Red Zone is included in that packet, and that is free through the end of the year when you sign up for new Dish service.
Call WOW now, 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474. If you miss soccer, you're missing your local channels, Ben, you got a solution for it.
Yeah, if you're angry because you missed the local channels, you can get Dish with a double the gift card offer. That's right. Instead of $100, we're going to double that because you're upset because you lost some of your local channels. But you got to call us this weekend, 877-305-DISH, before those channels come back.
This is a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call now, 877-305-DISH. That's 877-305-3474 for WOW, World of Wireless.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006. We'll work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection. 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
What's your next obsession? If it's diving lessons, Ocean Impact Dive Shop, Western Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma's premier dive shop is waiting on you. Ocean Impact is a full-service 5-star PADI dive shop offering air fills and tank inspections. The staff can answer all your questions and get you started on your underwater adventure. Ocean Impact Dive Shop, 2127 South 56th Street, Fort Smith. Don't wait, summer's just around the corner. Get to Ocean Impact Dive Shop. Go get your dive on.
Looking for a high-quality and affordable vehicle? Hertz Car Sales offers a wide selection of high-quality cars, SUVs, or trucks. Amazing customer services with affordable prices on every car. With inventory arriving daily, why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Trade-ins are always welcome, so stop by to Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, Tye Richardson for A Cut Above Lawn and Landscaping. They service commercial and residential lawns for weed management and fertilization for a lush, healthy lawn. Need bush hogging? Yep, they do that too. A Cut Above can make that driveway and fence look brand new with a good power washing. You don't have to put up with those unwanted pests either. Call today and get started with a flea, tick, and mosquito treatment to start enjoying the outdoors again. More than just a mowing service. They're A Cut Above. Call or text today at 479-719-5605. Lawn, landscaping, power washing, flea, tick, and mosquito control. 719-5605.
Is your home secure? No, really. Is your home secure? Do you just ignore the dog yapping, roll over, and go back to sleep? Guardtronic, the oldest alarm company in Arkansas, can make sure you sleep soundly. Founded in 1959, Guardtronic will make sure your home or business is protected against fire and burglary. How much do you have to lose? Call us at 785-2323 for a free quote before the bad guys make a call on you. Or visit guardtronic.com. License E050.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
And Derby's got the first down. A.J. Derby then hits the speed. How about that? Did he stay in? Touchdown, Arkansas!
Saturday Down South put out they're doing a ton of top 25 lists. I mean, it's like an entire week of it. I know our friend Connor O'Gara told us that they were doing a week of lists, and I think they've got like 25 lists of top 25s. So the newest one that came out last week, or yesterday, ranking the SEC's best defensive players for 2019. You know how many Arkansas players are on this list? One. It's Scooter Harris. Grant Delpit, the safety from LSU, they think is also the best player in the country, pound for pound, according to the writer that put this list together. That's Rick Stavig. But there's one Arkansas player on this list, and it is Scooter Harris. And every time that you hey, I think Scooter's a great linebacker. I think he's terrific. But every time that he's mentioned throughout the last few months, it's always about how no SEC player averaged more tackles per game over the past 2 years than Scooter Harris.
Hint,
well,
hint, he needs some help.
Yes, that's exactly right. There's a couple of things that go into this. He needs more help, and the defense just had to make so many more. They were on the field so much longer than the offense was last year that it's like, it's like the law of averages. I mean, when you're on the field more than anybody else is on the field, you're going to get chances to make more tackles, especially when there's a little left to be desired about some of the other linebackers with you.
That's one of the cons about running a high-tempo, high-powered offense. If it's not working, then you put your defense in genuine stress over and over, week after week, and that's what we saw last year with John Chavis' squad just getting mutilated and brutal and bashed last year multiple games, multiple times. And so you hope that the offense can be a little more consistent, stay on the field a little more. That, in turn, will help the defense. They'll be in a little better condition. They'll be in a little better shape. But, Phil, I don't know how long this has been an issue for Arkansas since before I was born. And I always hear people a lot older than me and people a lot smarter than me in the Arkansas media that refer to this. They have never had linebacker depth. And I can't tell you the last time they've had that. You think about when Dre Greenlaw has suffered some injuries throughout the course of his career at Arkansas. Scooter kind of suffered in the offseason. He's been a good one. Yeah, Marshall Spade is good, but they've never had consistent linebacker depth where if someone were to go down, they'd have another next man up type mentality. And you can say this guy's going to step up, but in reality, you don't have there's a difference between quality depth, and they don't have the quality depth right now at that position where Chad Morris and his staff and John Chavis can feel comfortable if someone were to get injured, especially if the Scooter went down this year. They're so screwed in that position. Oh, my goodness.
Well, Saturday Down South also has defensive coordinator John Chavis picked as the 8th best in the SEC and 18th best play caller. They're talking specifically about defensive play callers, and I know that's defensive coordinators, but there's a little more that goes into coordinating than just the play calling. But I think they're just going by play callers. And a lot of what they write here about John Chavis is about his history, and I think Bill King got into it yesterday a little bit, and we've asked Bill about, I think we play with Bill a little about his distaste for John Chavis as a coach. He said he didn't have a problem with him personally, but he thinks that he's just living on reputation, and I think, I don't know if maybe this next season will say that, whether or not, because it's his second year of a 2-year contract, so maybe there's not a third year there. But if there is an uptick in the talent level and the available players that you feel comfortable putting on the field, maybe there's more production from a defense that was just sorely lacking in production in every single area, with the exception of tackles, because the offense had the ball so darn much and the defense just really never took it away much.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues that it's great that your statistics are going up, and for Scooter Harris, you like that because, as you mentioned, the 2-year thing, but you got to get those guys off the field, man. You got to give them some rest. Like, they can't be put in those positions they were over and over last year, again this year. If I was a D, you just get so distraught. You're just there's no energy emotionally, mentally, when you continuously have to go back on the field over and over again when your offense comes up short. Hopefully, and I'm not asking the offense to score 40-plus points a ball game because we all know that's not going to happen. But to do better than they did last year, to at least give the defense a little bit of rest, I think that's it. That's the smallest floor of expectancy for this upcoming season.
Got some text to read before we go to the break. We've got Brian in Fort Smith asking, did Arkansas run an up-tempo offense last year?
They tried to, but
yeah, I mean, it felt like they tried. I really wasn't sure how to answer that question.
You know what's funny is Brett Bielema.
You didn't have the personnel that you needed to do it.
Yeah, the latter part of Brett Bielema's tenure, they started chucking the ball a lot more and running a little more quicker, and it was weird. And then this past year, because Chad Morris, they didn't even have, I think it was less than 40% of the offense installed. They didn't have the personnel to run his style of offense. They couldn't do that much up-tempo last year. Now, they weren't exactly taking the time that Bielema was when they first got here, but it wasn't the Chad Morris offense that he ran at SMU or ran as the OC at Clemson.
Can we call this a live listener line? I don't want to use the other terminology some other listeners, some other stations have used before, but I mean, this is a phone call and a text at the same time.
You call it whatever you want, dude.
Live listener line. All right, we've got another one from an unnamed listener. When do they start practice? Have they already started? Is it sometime after media days? My understanding is it the first week or the first full week of August that practice starts, or is it the second week?
I was told 2, and I probably should. I was told 2 weeks after media day, so I think one of those 2 weeks.
That would be the first
right.
week.
Yeah,
that would be the first week of August.
So
very good.
Again, don't hold me to that. Don't nail that into the floorboard, but I think that's correct.
Paul from the Fort says he doesn't know if we've said anything about this or not, and we just did mention this. He really hopes they keep Dat Wood bat around to use as a turnover trophy or good play trophy, whatever. If it helps them build confidence, use it. So sure, I mean, was there any prop last year on the sideline?
Do you think that team deserved a prop for anything successful they did last year?
Just a big L to carry around the sideline during the game?
They didn't even deserve the trash can that Butch Jones' squad came around with when they dunk a football in there after forcing a turnover. The wood bat would actually be a cool prop this year. Now that you've got a little more anticipation for this upcoming season, I think that would be a good idea. I don't know if Chad Morris, if that's his style to include that, but it's not a bad idea. Maybe someone should pass that along to him.
Get with us on the live listener line, 877-377-6963, voice or text. Otis Kirk coming up next, talking Arkansas football with Otis on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Art's Barbecue and Burgers has the best burger in town. And every Saturday, enjoy any burger at Art's and get $1 off. Try Art's Bacon Cheeseburger, topped with house-smoked bacon, or the Art Attack with bacon, ham, and a fried egg. And all of Art's burgers come with a mound of fresh-cut fries, or upgrade to Art's homemade onion rings. $1 off all burgers every Saturday at Art's Barbecue and Burgers, 8203 Rogers Avenue, next to Aaron's in Fort Smith.
Only 10% of collision repair shops achieve ICAR Gold Class status, the highest training level recognized in the industry. Evans Body Shop is proud to be one of them. We know the latest repair techniques, how to find hidden damage, and repair your car's critical safety features so they work properly again. We invest in training because we would never cut corners with your family's safety at stake, and neither should you. Get your vehicle repaired at Evans Body Shop, where your safety is our top priority. Evans Body Shop, 412 Gordon Avenue, Van Buren.
Where we meet the nicest people by accident.
Sit comfortably on your
patio or the sidelines in a Four Seasons Courtyard Extra Large Zero Gravity Chair from Metters Lumber True Value for only $49.99. This extra large chair with a sturdy steel frame and sling fabric features double bungee cord stability and a ring lock mechanism for easy recline. It even has a detachable tray for drinks. Choose from red, gray, blue, or tan. Add a matching folding side table for only $14.99. It features a fabric top with cup holder. Pick up these bargains of the month today while supplies last at Metters Lumber True Value.
Get ready for mow fun this summer with a new Bad Boy mower and free SeaWorld or Busch Garden tickets. Let's go! Buy a Bad Boy mower this spring and own the best-built, most powerful zero-turn mower on the planet. And you'll get free tickets to SeaWorld or Busch Gardens. Have mow fun all the way around this summer. Drive away with a Bad Boy mower and take off to SeaWorld or Busch Gardens for the time of your life. Make your country Bad Boy country.
See the full line of Bad Boy mowers at Elma Tractor and Equipment.
Bad Boy mowers. Mow with an attitude. Limited time offer, participating dealers only.
This is your last chance to save $1,000 off the remaining new 2018 GMC Sierras at Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston. Right now, you can save $16,000 off new in-stock 18 Sierra Denali 4-wheel drive half-ton crew cabs and $13,000 off new Sierra SLT half-ton crew cabs. These savings are unprecedented and will not be repeated. Hurry in now to Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston and find your next truck at prices you can't believe. Hug Chevrolet Buick GMC in Charleston or online at huggm.com. Closer than you think.
It's the Red, White, and Bluegrass Festival at Magic Springs, featuring a bluegrass jam session, games, contests, a corn maze, and live entertainment throughout the day. Plus, an unforgettable concert featuring Ricky Skaggs. Saturday, July 13th at Magic Springs in Hot Springs, Arkansas. The festival begins at 2 p.m. and the festival is free with your one-day admission or season pass. Get yours today at magicsprings.com or Kroger.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Here's Jones on a keeper. Out over the 40 to midfield. Matt Jones may take it to the house. And the dunk.
Welcome back on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson with Tye Richardson. We're efforting Otis Kirk joining us in just a moment. Don't forget, if you're looking for a new car, head over to Rhodes Chevrolet, a name you've trusted for over 80 years. Rhodes Chevrolet has always been dependable in the car buying and car owning experience. So from the first time you walk into their showroom, you're treated like family. That's part of the family-owned dealership and service department serving the River Valley for over 8 decades. Find your next dependable vehicle today at Rhodes Chevrolet, 2800 Alma Highway in Van Buren, or go to RhodesChevy.com. Rhodes Chevrolet, dependable since 1934. We've got Otis coming up in just a moment. Later on in the show, FOMO Friday with some things we'd rather be doing. I've even got one I would rather stay away from. One of those summer things that you just don't want to see anywhere near your domicile. Also, Craig Stevenson from AL.com joining us in hour number 2 to talk about the time that Nick Saban almost took the job at the University of Texas. But right now it is Otis Kirk on the line with us right now. You've been following him for years, covering the Razorbacks, currently with Hogville and Pig Trail Nation. Otis, it's a pleasure to talk with you. How are you?
Well, hey, guys. I'm doing great, man. It's a pleasure to talk to you guys. Thanks for asking me to be on here. It's just been crazy this morning. I've been 7-on-7s and stuff, and writing stories. So it's been kind of hectic, but it's good. It's only July, 12th?
That's right. Better to feel completely, overwhelmed. Maybe not overwhelmed, but, just have tons of stuff going on the last day of the off season, because we know the season really starts SEC Media Days. The thing that we want to get to, Tye and I were talking about the wide receiver position, and is there a little too much pressure or maybe too much expected of the incoming freshman this next year? And for me, it all has to work together. Last year you could see where the deficiencies were at nearly every position on the offense, with the exception of tight end and at times when they were healthy, running back. For me, offensive line has to improve, and there are position battles just about everywhere, and that's going to be very interesting to see how those position battles shake out in August.
Yeah, the offensive line is really interesting in the sense that they don't even know who's going to play which position, but it's not bad like it sounds, because what their goal is his obvious goal is to get the 5 best players on the field at one time, and you may have to have 3 or 4 tackles. You know, what I mean by that, somebody may have to move to guard, or, you know, I think you got Colton Jackson, Myron Cunningham out of left tackle, but which one loses that battle? He's probably still going to be in the top 5 offensive linemen. So one of them could possibly go to guard. And if Myron Cunningham went to left guard, which we saw him do some in the spring, then what happens to Austin Capps? Does he flip over to the right side? Does Shane Clennon, who's right now targeted to start at right guard but can play center, but then you got Ty Clary. So, and then, of course, Dalton Wagner and Noah Gatlin at right tackle. So, yeah, the good thing with Coach Fry this year on the offensive line, he's got options. That's not really last year. A lot of times he has to take what he had because, I mean, they didn't even have 10 to practice with most of them. Talking about scholarship offensive linemen, they didn't even have 10 at most times. So this year he's got options, and it's better to have options then. It's kind of like we were talking about working, Phil. I mean, it's good to have stories to write instead of scrambling for something to write. Well, it's good to have options when you're trying to fill out a position. So,
that's well said.
I think the offensive line is going to be really interesting because they're trying to get the 5 best on the field, and right now they may have to do some swapping of a tackle to a guard or a guard to a center to make that work. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that's a possibility. That's what will happen.
How good can Myron Cunningham be? Because, you know, you heard big things of him coming out of JUCO, top-rated offensive lineman out of JUCO, right. Available for transferring this last season. You know, you're talking about him competing for 2 spots on the left side of the line, but everything I read, it's expected Cunningham is one of the best 5 offensive linemen on this team. It's just a matter of figuring where it shakes out for him.
Exactly. And he is. He's going to be in the starting lineup, barring something happening that unforeseen, because when spring closed, he was one of the 5 best. And, you know, I've always thought, and this is just me talking, I've always thought that Colton Jackson might be a better guard than he is tackle. I mean, I think it'd be less, not have to be out there on the edge. But as far as Myron Cunningham, yeah, I think the sky's the limit for him. I mean, you know, in the past, Arkansas's hit and they've missed on some junior college offensive linemen. But I think this is a definite hit on Myron Cunningham. They beat OU and other schools to get him. And guy, he is just so tall, long kid that you want out there. And I really like him on the edge out there. But you know, if it requires him to move inside the guard, then so be it. But yeah, he'll definitely. At this point, I would say he's a pretty safe bet to be in the top 5 on that line when the dust settles and Portland State comes to town.
Otis Kirk of Pig Trail Nation, our guest here on Halftime. Otis, you saw the non-conference games that Arkansas lost last season, the game against Colorado State where you're up big late in the 4th quarter and you come back and blow it. Then you just get absolutely clobbered at home by North Texas. Looking at this year's non-conference schedule, is there any scenario you can foresee, barring, I guess, if they were to beat someone they shouldn't, where Arkansas fans could forgive Chad Morris for losing another non-conference game this year?
Well, I don't think if your goal is to get to a bowl game, and obviously I'm sure it is, the goal is to win as many games as possible. I don't see how they can lose a non-conference game and get to a bowl game, because here's why. You've got 4 teams coming, and they're all going to be in Fayetteville. We're not going to. I went to Fort Collins last year. I mean, that's a long trip, and you know, they've got 4 games in Fayetteville. There's 4 non-conference teams coming to Fayetteville this year. Their combined record last year was 11-36, and so I don't think there's any reason to lose to one of those teams, and you have got to win those games. You can win those 4, and you still may not get to a bowl because of the SEC. But I think as to get to 6 or 7 wins, I think it's a requirement that you win those 4. I don't even think it's debatable. You've got to. Those are teams coming in that have losing records last year. All of them won 11 games combined. And, one of those was Colorado State beating Arkansas. But it's in Fayetteville this year. That's a big difference. And I just think that you've got to win those to have any chance at a bowl game. I mean, that's 4. that gets you to 4. That leaves you got to win 2 of the 8 in the SEC if you win those 4. So you just can't lose at home to teams like that. And none of those teams are as good. And I'm not making excuses for Arkansas last year, but none of those teams are as good as the North Texas State team that came to Arkansas and won. Not saying North Texas should have beaten them like that. I'm just saying none of these teams are even remotely close to as good as that North Texas team was. That was a pretty good team. I mean, no reason to lose that big, but it wasn't like it was a really bad team. These are bad teams coming to Fayetteville.
Otis, it's hard to fathom that maybe the most important game on this upcoming year's schedule is the second week when the Hogs travel down to Oxford. Would you say, just based on how you could be 4-0 heading into that Texas A&M game in Dallas, would you say that Ole Miss game is the most important on this year's schedule?
Oh, I definitely do. I think that's a game that they could have won last year. You lost Ty Story, you lost Davol Whaley, you lost Chase Hayden last year. I'm sorry. You lost those kids, Rakeem Boyd last year. You lose players in that game that if you don't lose those guys, you probably win the game. They hadn't even punted at the time Ty went out in the fourth quarter. They lost Rakeem early in the first quarter, I think it was, or early in the second quarter, but and then Davol went down. But that's a game that, if you win that and you do win your 4 non-conference games, you'd have 3 of them under your belt when you went to Arlington to play A&M plus the Ole Miss game. You would be 4-0. So I think that is, and then you still got you've got Western Kentucky sitting down later in the schedule. So to me, that is an important game. That could set the tone for the entire SEC, the entire season, because, you've got some games that are winnable in the SEC. You look at a couple of those games, maybe you don't expect them to go to Alabama and win. You don't expect them to go to LSU and win. But some of those games are pretty winnable. And, but you've got to take care of business. And if you take care of business against Ole Miss in the second week of the season, then you've got a chance to really have some momentum there. If you do the 2 things we've talked about on this show, you win your non-conference games and you beat Ole Miss, you're 4-0 going into A&M, and then you may not beat A&M, not expected to by any means, but it gives you a chance to feel good about yourself at the end of September. Even if you're 4-1, you feel pretty good about yourself. Then you've got a bye week, and then you go to Kentucky, which is another winnable game. So I think that Ole Miss game is just absolutely huge.
Otis, how long have you been covering Arkansas football?
Oh, man, I tell you what, I did this. I started out probably in the 80s back in Mena, but I was doing it as a hobby before that, even before I even worked for the paper or anything. I was just doing I remember David Basil always tells the story about me emailing him, or I'm not emailing him, prehistoric being as old as I am, but writing him a letter and getting a picture of him when he was a high school recruit at Panama City. Mostly, I believe it was high school down there in Panama City. But, it's been doing this for a long time. It was just, started out as just, like I said, it was something that I was interested in, a hobby, and then it kind of grew into, I went to work at the Mena Star, and then I went to work at the Morning News and, Democrat Gazette and then the Internet. So, I've been doing it for a long time, enjoyed doing it, still enjoy doing it. And, in fact, I could imagine doing a whole lot of anything else.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned David Basil because he played the position that I wanted to ask about. We got about 60 seconds left, so if you can get that in this time, has this program in that time that you've covered them ever been able to develop depth at linebacker? And if not, why? And could you get that into 60 seconds? That's probably a whole segment.
Well, I'll be quick on this. I think one thing that hurts Arkansas as far as linebackers is a lot of the linebackers in Arkansas, high school kids, play down on the defensive line because they're bigger kids and the high school coaches need them down. So I think that's one position. It's just been hard for various reasons for Arkansas to recruit that. They've done pretty well when they've taken a guy like Caleb Miller at safety, Tony Bua at safety in high school, and converted them to linebackers. But it's been a long time if they had Sammy O at that time, but it's been a long time since they've really had the depth at linebacker that they truly need. And they only signed one last year. That's got to be a target this year, and that's where Martavius French, Bryson Eason, and those guys come into play.
Okay. We definitely want to talk about that more later on. Otis, great segment. Appreciate you coming on with us. Let's do it again.
Oh, thanks for asking me, guys. I appreciate it. Anytime you need me, just ask me. Thanks.
You got it.
Talk
Otis
to you later.
Kirk.
Have a good day.
You can follow him at Pig Trail Nation, hogville.net. And we'll come back, wrap up the first hour of halftime next on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
A show that lives up to the hype. You're listening to Halftime.
Proclaim Construction has been in the industry for a combined 50 years, and they can meet any needs you may have for your home or business. Proclaim is your insurance restoration specialist, and they're offering a no-cost, limited-time free roof inspection, and they'll make your insurance claim if necessary. Whether it's basic repair, remodel, or complete makeover, Proclaim Construction guarantees your satisfaction with the best warranty in the business. Proclaim has references for your peace of mind, and they're licensed, bonded, and insured for your protection. Call 479-407-9598.
Massey Ferguson tractors have arrived at Bush Machine and Tractor. Bush Machine and Tractor is proud to be the newest Massey Ferguson dealer in Western Arkansas, providing you with the full lineup of versatile Massey Ferguson tractors. They're built with straightforward power, smart fuel economy, and upgraded control and comfort. Stop by and find a new Massey Ferguson perfectly sized to fit your property or farm at Bush Machine and Tractor, 7301 South 0 Street in Fort Smith, or visit us online at bushtractor.com.
Introducing Hardee's Charbroiled Double Deals for $2.49 each. Your choice of the double cheeseburger, the new bacon cheddar double, or backed by popular demand, the Hardee's Classic. They're double. The beef, triple. The options. You probably noticed the echo. It happens when we double the beef and triple the options with our Charbroiled double deals for $2.49 each. It's kind of epic. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Double the meat is compared to the small cheeseburger. Limited time only at participating restaurants. Price may vary. Tax not included.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco for hard work and the great outdoors.
With quality and price and comfort you like, and savings that you're looking for.
We've got the shoes and boots, steel toes too, outerwear and a whole lot more.
Head to toe, it's gotta be Jelco
for hard work and the great outdoors.
Why go north when you can get the best deal on a new GMC or Buick here locally at Harry Robinson Buick GMC? There is no reason to drive more than an hour to buy your next vehicle. Harry Robinson has the same big rebates and discounts promised at other dealers, and Harry always gives you more for your trade. So when it comes time for your next vehicle, don't go north. Come see why Harry Robinson is the fastest growing Buick GMC dealer in the region. Harry Robinson Buick GMC, exit 11 off I-540 in Fort Smith.
For almost 70 years, Crabtree RV in Alma has been helping people in the River Valley get out and enjoy the great outdoors. And that tradition continues today with our brand new body shop, a first-class service department, and a friendly staff to help you choose from the top brands in the industry. So put away the devices and get out this summer to enjoy all that the natural state has to offer. With a little help from Crabtree RV in Alma, where your family's dreams come true.
Your voice lets him know he's safe. Shelter Insurance does the same for you. Roadside assistance provided by Road America is now included with your auto policy. We'll take care of you. Thank you. While you take care of what's most important. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Ask shelter agents Ted McAvoy or Jeff Clark about a free insurance review.
Hi, I'm Kelly Smith, owner of Dixie Digital Imaging, the Xerox authorized agency and dealer in the River Valley. The 29 new models of Xerox business printers and copiers represent a quantum leap forward in office technology. They are designed for the way we work today, safely and securely. They're powered by Xerox Connect Key technology. They're innovative and affordable with both black and white and color devices available. For more information, give Dixie Digital a call at 783-6600 or visit us at dixiedigital.com. Dixie Digital Imaging, bringing Xerox document innovations to the River Valley.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
McFadden, the number 2 rusher in the SEC behind Kenny Irons. Boy, he hits that hole. Upfield he goes. Watch out. McFadden at the 25, 15, 5. Touchdown.
Appreciate you tuning in on Halftime today on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. an active live listener line today, 877-377-6963. That's for your voice or for your thumbs. That's what I'm going with the rest of the time now, Ty. I'm going to go with live listener line. And it's a brand new thing for us. It hasn't been sponsored yet. By the way, I'm sure our salespeople would love a sponsorship of that live listener line, which we're going to say as many times as we possibly can, 877-377-6963. Also give me some ideas of some things that Ty can do while he's in Hoover, Alabama, aside from working his butt off. You know the things I do in Hoover. I go visit the old baseball park, which I think is still closed. Go to Birmingham, walk around, go to a minor league game. You do all the geeky baseball things that I do when I'm in Birmingham, right, Ty?
Yeah. I might venture over to some of the things you do. I know Dave & Buster's Wednesday night, and then also probably go to On Tap after Dave & Buster's. And I'll see my cousin, her husband, and then my little nephew, Ollie, that I haven't gotten to visit. Other than that, a lot that can be put on the docket, Phil.
Yeah, the coaches and the media, for something, I bet you they're all going to be pretty separate as far as the places they hang out. Coaches in hotel rooms and media in bars. We're coming back to get the second hour of halftime next, ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
This time of year is hectic, and we know you have things to do and places to be. Southern Tire Mart can help you get there and save you money on America's most trusted brands like Michelin and BF Goodrich. Take advantage of our $29.95 oil change, which includes a 27-point vehicle inspection. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart just off I-540 at exit 14 in Fort Smith today for quality Michelin and BF Goodrich tires and the best-in-class service. Get where you need to be with Michelin, BF Goodrich, and Southern Tire Mart.
Hello, would you like me to find workout classes near you?
There are no stores that sell glasses within 10 miles of your location.
There's enough artificial in the world. That's why Michelob Ultra is brewed with no artificial colors or flavors. With just 95 calories and 2.6 carbs, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri. 95 calories, 2.6 grams carbs, 0.6 grams protein, and 0.0 grams fat for 12 ounces.
Enjoy happy hour 6 days a week at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Monday through Friday from 3 till 6 and all day on Saturday. Enjoy happy hour specials, including $1 off all drinks, and Paquito nachos are only $4. Your choice of beef, bean, chicken, or cheese. Happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 and all day on Saturday at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 6 days a week. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps. Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
The Capital One Saver Card presents the invention of the sandwich.
Sir, the snack you requested.
Ooh, look at that. Bread and meat and bread again. Oh, by decree of me, the Earl of Sandwich, I shall call it the Sandwich.
Brilliant, sir.
The sandwich was once the next big thing in food. Now, it's the Capital One Saver Card. Earn 3% cash back on dining, 2% on groceries, and 1% on all other purchases.
What's in your wallet?
Capital One Bank, USANA.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
Mainly clear sky tonight, and overnight low will drop down. Low 60s north, upper 60s, closer to 70 south. Lots of sunshine with us as we hit through Friday, or high upper 80s to low 90s. And we may see a stray shower or rumble of thunder on Saturday with high temperatures low 90s. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
KERX Paris Fort Smith. The Bud Light Countdown is on. Arkansas football begins in 50 days.
Good morning, Vietnam!
Broadcasting live from the Bud Light Studio.
I love Arkansas! I love everything here! Give me that thing here! Woo!
On your favorite Arkansas sports talk station.
Why did that happen in Fayetteville, Arkansas?
Dixon Street. It'll get you.
Streaming live from
Hit that line.
.com.
You want answers.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
This is Halftime.
Man, that ball got out of here in a hurry.
With Phil Elson.
You do a fantastic job on the radio. There's no one else in this league I'd rather listen to, so keep up the good work.
And Tye Richardson.
Your show is really, really good, guys.
2 more quarters, and after that, most of you will never play this game again.
See ya, D-Mac. Hold on, Matt Ryan. D-Mac not looking back. Touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
it? Wide open again.
Hey, hold on. It's almost halftime.
50 days away from the start of Arkansas football season. Of course, the season really begins the week before that with the Miami-Florida game. We are in countdown mode. We have been for a while. And that also means we're counting down the last 60 minutes-ish or so of this show for the week as we get into our Friday, our first 5-day week together with me and Tye for what it's been about 3 or 4 weeks now.
It's been a while, dude.
It's been good. It's been good. We'll be doing the same thing next week, even though you'll be in Hoover Monday through Wednesday.
You're going to have to carry the show on Friday because I'm going to be dragging because we're coming back that 8-hour trip back from Hoover. We won't get back to like 10 or 11 that night, so just be ready to carry the show that day.
That's all right. I'm used to doing that every single day anyway,
Oh, there it is.
That's right. And so, I'm excited for you for next week. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm just excited to actually get, some sound bites from the coaches and the players that we've been talking about here and getting some fresh sound. It'll be interesting to see how long can you use this sound? How long can you stretch it out until you've used it all, or you've played everything 2 or 3 times and hashed that conversation over a bunch. But I think by the time we've used all of this stuff, it'll be practice time, and then we'll get some stuff from practice and from press conferences at Reynolds Razorback Stadium, and we'll actually be able to talk about things that we're seeing during practice instead of questions that I think sometimes really can't be answered very much. Now, let me put it here. This is when we do our FOMO or JOMO Friday, things we got some fear of missing out on, things that we're actually happy that we're missing out on. I feel like I've got a little FOMO for not going to media days next week, but I'm more excited for you to go there than I am for me not going. You know what I mean? Because you've got the relationships, you've got people that you haven't seen in about a year since the last time you were there, and I think you'll get a little more out of it than I would. So I don't necessarily have too much FOMO for not going to media days, but I'm excited for what you might have coming up. But here's what I do have a little FOMO over. I mentioned it yesterday, and I think I talked about this a couple of months ago when we were coming to the halfway point of the baseball season. Not of the major league season, not of even an affiliated minor league season, but of an unaffiliated minor league called the Atlantic League. Which now has adopted a whole bunch of new rules, even rules that I wasn't even anticipating that just came out the other day. The rules that we knew about, that I remember talking about previously, were no defensive shifts. There's a line placed behind second base straight out towards center field. The shortstop is not allowed to start a play over that line than where he'd usually be standing. So that's one area. The bases have grown. I forget the size of the bases now, but they're bigger. And the pitcher's mound has been pushed back 2 inches. And there's also the automated strike zone, which we talked about, where the umpire actually has AirPods in his ears and is connected via Wi-Fi network to the automated strike zone, which is attached to the press box. And that umpire is told by the automated strike zone in his ear, right when the pitch is caught, strike or ball. And he's supposed to go off of what he hears. Well, now there are some new rules, some really new rules. I mean, some stuff I never would have even expected before. One of them, I like this one, the idea of now when you've got a 2-strike count, a bunt that goes foul is not strike 3. The second time the 2-strike bunt goes foul, it's strike 3, and that's it. The other rule that's really interesting, what these rules are geared towards is trying to utilize speed in the game once again and base running, and I think essentially base stealing and small ball bunting. Pitchers now must step off the rubber when they make a pickoff throw, which every right-hander has to do that no matter what. Left-handed pickoff moves now change. You can no longer have that pitcher lift the leg, step to first base, and pick a runner off in that sense. I think that's going to be a balk now. So there's no longer any real advantage to the left-hander's pickoff move being different from the right-hander's pickoff move, and that's going to allow base stealers to get a bigger lead and feel more confident once that pitcher lifts the leg that he's not throwing to first base. So the other one, which blows me away, now you know when there's a 2-strike count, when the third strike is not caught, when it hits the dirt and either is stopped by the catcher or bounces away, then the batter, as long as there's nobody on first base, is allowed to run to first base. The catcher's got to pick it up, either tag him or throw to first, and essentially at that point it becomes a force play. The Atlantic League now is doing this on any count, on any situation. So let's say the count is 0-1, and a pitch bounces and gets past the catcher. The batter, at that point, can try to steal, quote-unquote, steal first base. And this is a complete rule change in baseball, where now you can steal first base. And this kind of reintroduces the thought of speed mattering in baseball. Now, this is why I love what Major League Baseball is using the Atlantic League for, because this is not the way baseball is played now. But the majors are trying to be at least forward-thinking, progressive, getting ahead of the idea that essentially the game will need to change in some ways. I don't know if this is necessarily the case of the way the game will change by allowing batters to steal first base, but at least it's an understanding, an admittance that the game needs to be able to utilize speed and base running in ways that it's no longer utilized to make it an exciting game. I like watching home runs. That's what I got into the other day. I like watching guys make plays in the field. I like watching base runners do their thing, steal a base, go first to third, use that speed. I've got FOMO that I won't be anywhere near the Atlantic League to watch at least a couple of these games just to see what it's like where a batter tries to steal first base. So that's my start of FOMO.
Phil, it's kind of like the NIT when they try out different rules, different regulations, and they're just kind of testing the waters to see, hey, does this work? Do we like this? Do we like how this game and this added is working? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And it doesn't, what this allows when you're talking about the minor leagues using this, you're not completely changing up the professional league game. And then with the example I use with the NCAA, you're not changing up real basketball games that matter, because as you know, the NIT, no one's invested tournament, it's not as big of a deal if a big rule change changes the outcome of a game because it's the NIT and no one cares. So kind of similar things. I'm not saying that no one cares about minor league, but it's definitely not the importance that a major league game is, Phil.
Yeah, this is where you see how these rule changes can affect eventually the games that matter. And I'm not somebody that says you got to keep the game exactly the way that it is. You've got to be forward thinking, because if you don't adapt, you're going to be left behind. And I feel like baseball already is being a little bit left behind, and I want it to adapt.
So we were talking about, before the program began, about Chris the Bagel Boss Morgan. I got to play this audio for you. If you haven't seen the viral video that's been making its way, the Bagel Boss happened to get a little rowdy in a New York City bagel place.
Why is it okay for women to say, oh, you're 5 feet on dating sites? You should be dead? That's okay?
Who said that to you here? Nobody.
Women in general have said it on dating sites. You think I'm making that up? Everywhere I go, I get the same smirk with the biting lip. Shut your mouth. You're not God or my father or my boss. Dude, you want to step outside? You want to step outside? Huh? I'm not scared of you, pal. I know. You shut up, too. Just like a go ahead and attack me.
Oh, my God. I bagels.
There's so many levels here. So many levels. Can I just say there's nothing more entertaining than an angry New Yorker?
Oh, man. There's so many layers to unpack, starting with the end with the girl that's like, I just wanted to get bagels. She didn't want to be a part of a viral video. She just wanted to go in for her morning routine and get a bagel. But Chris, the Bagel Boss Morgan.
Please don't call him the Bagel Boss. He's a bagel idiot.
He has had some quotes in the aftermath of this little debacle, including, I'm a modern-day prophet. I'm a modern-day Martin Luther King. That is the worst comparison I've ever heard. This is also what he had to say, and I forget what radio station he was on. He said, despite getting attacked and bullied by a bunch of wads who are twice my size and think they're bad, I'm still here. So Chris, the Bagel Boss Morgan, he was a little angry, and he thought a woman behind the register smirked at him because he's 5 feet tall, and he didn't take too kindly to that, and he starts going on this rant. Certain other customers got into it with him, and another guy actually tackled him, who he cussed at. It was a wild performance. Look, I don't know what to tell you about the dating site, Dean. And the fact of the matter is, this has been a human element in its entirety, that tall guys are more apt to pull women and date women. That's just a fact of life, like, period, into discussion. But Phil, you mentioned before the show started his YouTube channel, which has several of his. Yeah,
it's amazing. He's got his own YouTube channel. It's like it should be called the Fight Channel.
He just like these. He gets in these viral altercations where it's usually him and a restaurant or gas station worker, and then he posts them on YouTube. And look, I'm not condoning making fun of anyone for their shortcomings, and that's a pun that I didn't mean to put in there. But
there you go, you just did it. I mean, you're lucky that the bagel idiot isn't in there with you.
Yeah, he probably kicked my keister, but
or at least threatened to.
Yeah, I don't condone any of that, but I have certain friends of the program that they always have this chip on their shoulder where it's what they think is a blemish on them or a kind of a defect when it's definitely not, and they feel like people are always out to hit or make fun of that part of them that they are very self-conscious about, and that's not always the case. Like, so you probably have friends as well, Phil, that they're very insecure about a certain part of themselves, and they always feel like that certain people are harping on them for that, when that's not the case at all. They just have this like crazy imagination where things get blown out of proportion, and it seems like this guy's in that category as well.
Well, how do you think Bagel Boss and Grayson Allen would get along if they bumped into each other in the bagel shop at some point?
I don't know. You know what? I hope Bagel Boss would kick his tail, because Grayson Allen has had instances over and over that have ticked me off. This is the first one I've seen. I haven't watched the other YouTube channel, but I would hope Chris, the Bagel Boss Morgan, would beat the crap out of Grayson Allen.
This comes from the Las Vegas NBA Summer League yesterday. Boston versus Grant Allen's brand new team. He was traded over to Memphis from Utah, and you'll hear the voice of a couple of the broadcasters. So get this. Grayson Allen had committed a flagrant foul against Grant Williams, the great player out of Tennessee, now with Boston, had committed a flagrant foul. First of all, committing a flagrant foul in an NBA Summer League game is one thing, but then 8 seconds later, this happened.
And Allen swung at Williams, who's going back at him now.
And that happened early, and Williams is right.
Yeah,
Williams is absolutely right. That happened earlier, and Allen's going to do that. But I watched this. Williams set a legitimate back screen on Grayson Allen, and Grayson Allen responded, and I'm interested to see the replay because he did take a swing at Grant Williams.
You can't wind up. Now, it looked like Allen hit a lot of ball, but it also looked like he swung.
And it all started. You're going to see a back screen. We didn't see it here. Get him out of the game.
I mean, it's absurd.
I'm telling you, we didn't see the whole thing. It started from a back screen. Just get him out of this game now.
That's Dan Dackett, so you could hear publicly admonishing Grayson Allen. And he had been talking about Allen in about a minute before that, after the first flagrant foul was being reviewed, and he laid it on the feet of Duke. He laid it on Coach K. He didn't mention him by name, but if you're blaming it on Duke, then you're blaming it on Coach K for basically letting Allen get away with anything he wanted to get away with over the course of his career there in Durham, and it leads to just a ridiculous thing. I mean, how do you get ejected in a summer league game with 2 flagrant fouls 8 seconds apart? I feel like this is almost a get off my lawn time, but I got FOMO because I would have liked to be there and just see the reaction from people and watch the crocodile tears coming out of Grayson's eyes.
Phil, Grayson Allen was running amok all throughout his career at Duke, multiple altercations that he got and went on the floor. And you think about that Coach K never really reprimanded him in the way he probably should, and so he never felt like he was properly punished. That in turn caused him to just think he can do whatever he wants to on the court, which is so he just looks like a brat. That's the best way to put it. He looks like a spoiled little brat every time he plays the game of basketball, because it seems like more often than not he's involved in something that shouldn't have occurred. And Grant Williams, he doesn't come off as a guy that would get under your skin or anything. Grayson Allen just has it out for so many people to play, and he's just so annoying. And he personifies Duke in so many different ways when you think about the annoying players over the years, whether it's J.J. Redick, whether it's Christian Laettner, Bobby Hurley, Wojo, Chris Cobb. I mean, you can just go on and on and on, except he's taking it to another level where it seems like he's actually trying to hurt opposing players, which is just a terrible look, not only for Duke, but now the Memphis Grizzlies, whose organization he's a part of.
What do you got for your second?
So number 2, sticking with the NBA, we're going to venture outside of Summer League and kind of go over some free agent stuff that occurred. Paul George goes to the Clippers, and then last night the Oklahoma City Thunder deal Russell Westbrook to the Rockets. You think about, at one point there was 3 MVPs, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden on that squad in 2012, 2011, I think 2010, and then maybe 2009. The course of their career was changed in Game 2 when Kevin Durant was fouled by LeBron James in the closing seconds. They don't call it. Then he fouls Russell Westbrook. They let that go as well, and then the Heat win the series. And I say this begrudgingly as a Thunder fan, really bummed. But there's only been a couple teams throughout NBA history who have had 3 MVPs. You think about McAdoo being with Kareem and Magic, and this was in McAdoo, kind of his later years. You think about the Lakers in 2004 when you had Malone, Kobe, and Shaq, and then also the 76ers, who I think McAdoo was also teamed up with Dr. J and Moses Malone, but they were also kind of on their way out as well. This is just such a bummer, Phil, and I am truly bummed. And the FOMO portion I'm trying to pull out of this is the fear that I missed out on what could have been one of the greatest dynasties, and it never amounted to anything. One finals win with those 3 guys, as talented as they were, as young as they were, as many championships as they would have won and should have won, dealing with injuries, whether it's Kevin Durant, Russ, trading James Harden. There were just so many different things that threw this organization for a loop, and now they're going to have to rebuild with like 7 first-round draft picks and all the draft picks they have in the upcoming years. And it's reported by Yahoo Sports that they're actually trying to move Chris Paul as soon as possible. It's just a bummer. And you wanted to bring up a Pirates memory of yours that might
this just reminds me of what happened to the Pittsburgh Pirates in the early 90s, because you had this short window of opportunity to do something special with special players. Those Pirates with special players were Andy Van Slyke, Bobby Bonilla, Barry Bonds, Doug Drabick, John Smiley, and they lost 3 consecutive years in the NLCS to the Reds in 1990, the Braves 91-92. By the time 93 rolled around, all those great players were gone, with the exception of Van Slyke, because Pittsburgh didn't have the money to keep them, and it wasn't meant to be. And just like the Thunder are doing, although maybe not at the same level of compiling draft picks, Pittsburgh had a ton of early draft picks the next couple of years and really wasn't able to do anything about them. I'm not about to tell you that the Thunder are going on a 20-year streak of losing seasons like the Pirates did, because Major League Baseball in the early to mid-'90s and the labor market then was much different than what it's like in the NBA right now, and it's tough to put those 2 sports together. I'm just telling you, I've been there before, where I felt like, you've got a special group. This is a short window to do something, and they weren't able to do it. The next thing you know, the team's broken up, and you never have that shot again, at least with those same players. So I've seen this movie before. It doesn't end well.
Thanks for the reassuring part of the conversation.
I got a little JOMO on something that takes place during the summertime. I'm sure that we got a few of these in the state of Arkansas. I even have a few out on my porch here at the apartment complex, but they're just little wasp nests, not super wasp nests, that apparently are going to be found all across the state of Alabama throughout the entire year now. And part of this is being laid on climate change, that it doesn't get cold enough to kill off a lot of these nests and the wasps that it used to get. And so, have you read about this? These are super wasp nests throughout the state of Alabama. Right now, the Alabama Cooperative Extension Service says that 15 of these nests have been found by the start of July, which is on pace to set a record. They found 60 of these nests in 2006. Apparently, Ty, now I hope your skin doesn't crawl at this thought, these super wasp nests sometimes are the size of a Volkswagen Beetle with 15,000 or more wasps inside of them.
Jeez.
And
I'm looking at them now.
On June 28th, there was a wasp nest that stretched from the bottom of a house to the top of a house, and it was estimated that over 500,000 wasps were inside. Thank you You're going to Alabama? That's right. Next week. Have fun, Ty. Go search out some super wasp nests. I got tons of JOMO, but I'm not going into that state.
I'm staying outside of the car drive and getting out of the car into the Hyatt Regency, right? That's what it's called? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm staying inside.
The Winfrey. It's the Hyatt Winfrey Regency, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever.
I just know there are no super wasp nests in your room. But probably as soon as you walk out, you're getting attacked, so be careful.
Last FOMO for me, and it's kind of an addition of halftime homework. A couple months ago, Phil told me that I should watch, Revenge of the Nerds, and I didn't get to because it wasn't on the streaming service I was trying to, whatever. I can't remember the exact story, but I finally watched it last night because it hit Hulu, and John and I watched it together. I missed out for so long, 24 years old. I told you this a couple months back when I watched Dazed and Confused for the first time at 23. I was like, how did I go 23 years without watching Dazed and Confused? And I feel the same way about Revenge of the Nerds because it was absolutely spectacular. The difference between Anthony Edwards when he's Gilbert in that movie compared to Goose in Top Gun is incredible, and it speaks to his acting talent that he can be one way in one movie and be the complete opposite in the other. Robert Carradine.
You can say the same thing about Robert Carradine,
Yeah.
who played some badasses throughout the course of his career, including in 1980 in The Big Red One. I mean, he played a badass army soldier. It was to be one of the geekiest geeks in the movie history. Just a few years later, that's called range, my friend.
And I told you I knew him from The Dad and Max Keeble's Big Move, which you watched a while back, and you pointed that out to me, and I think that's why you got me to try and watch Revenge of the Nerds.
That's right.
Curtis Armstrong, who played Dudley Dawson, and now every time I see Dudley, whether it's up in Fable or what, I'll think of Booger, not because he picks his nose, but because the guy's name was Dudley Dawson in the movie. Julia Montgomery, breathtaking, just beautiful in that movie, absolutely just gorgeous. And then John Goodman, Sully from Monsters, Inc. There's just so many iconic characters.
He's the football coach. And, of course, you're going to attach John Goodman with being the voice of a cartoon monster and not the Babe or the guy from Raising Arizona or any of the other great movies he's been in.
Generational gap.
You need to watch Raising Arizona with Nicolas Cage and John Goodman. It's a classic and the first movie made by the Coen brothers.
Yeah, and just so many iconic lines from that movie last night. Really enjoyed it. I wish I had watched it earlier, but I guess I got a little FOMO that I hadn't watched it up until last night.
Hey, if you're hungry, you're going to have FOMO if you don't head over to Hardee's right now for a charbroiled double deer for $2.49. It's your choice of the double cheeseburger, the new bacon cheddar double, or backed by popular demand, it's the Hardee's Classic. Double the beef, triple the options, Hardee's, and that's because it tastes better.
I actually had a garlic bread thick burger yesterday, y'all.
Ooh.
It was phenomenal. Also had the garlic cheese fries. They are spectacular. So you can get one of those burgers Phil just mentioned, or go all out and get the garlic cheese fries and the garlic bread thick burger. I will absolutely put a check mark next to it. It's got my reference to it.
Well, if Ty gives it a reference, then I think it's good to eat. There's no doubt about that. Back after a break on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
No hidden agendas on this program. You're listening to Halftime.
Summer's about to get hotter with a $50 instant rebate on select Bridgestone and Firestone tires from Jim Grizzle Tire Company. Now through July 31st, take advantage of the great deals on all-season Bridgestone and Firestone tires. With 3 convenient locations, 1610 North 7th and Van Buren, and Fort Smith at 3002 Towson Avenue, and the newest location at 8821 Rogers Avenue, Jim Grizzle Tire, where you can get a $50 instant rebate plus an additional $40 if you use your CFNA credit card. Restrictions apply. See store for details, subject to credit approval. Jim Grizzle Tire, people dedicated to serving people since 1963.
Looking for a new home course this golf season? Eagle Crest Golf Course has memberships as low as $83 a month for Zoysia fairways and bent grass greens. Is your whole golf group ready to join Eagle Crest? 4 new members can join for just $1,150 each for the entire year. Individual annual memberships are just $1,250 a year. Call Eagle Crest Golf Course right now for all the details. 632-8857. That's 632-8857. Eagle Crest Golf Course, Highway 64, just east of Alma.
Introducing the limited edition Budweiser Discovery Reserve, brewed to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. An American red lager with a light hoppy aroma, followed by a hint of toffee and a crisp finish. Inspired by our archival recipe from the time of the Apollo missions. Enjoy responsibly. 2019 Anheuser-Busch Budweiser Discovery Reserve American Red Lager, ale in Texas, St. Louis, Missouri.
Enjoy happy hour 6 days a week at Joe's Grill and Cantina. Monday through Friday from 3 till 6 and all day on Saturday. Enjoy happy hour specials, including $1 off all drinks, and Paquito nachos are only $4. Your choice of beef, bean, chicken, or cheese. Happy hour specials Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 and all day on Saturday at Joe's Grill and Cantina. 6 days a week. Joe's Grill and Cantina, 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps. Your fence is more than a decoration. It's a reflection of its owner. Choosing a fence company should be done with integrity and quality in mind. The Fence Man has been providing fencing and security solutions for over 40 years. An in-house custom iron and gate department, plus an access control department. The Fence Man offers services other companies aren't equipped to do. The Fence Man, fencing and security solutions to protect what matters most. 479-782-3936 or online at thefencemancompany.com, a division of Quantum Property Services.
Sugat's here at Small Business Month, and Dell is celebrating innovators and job creators in a big way. Like up to 40% off business PCs big. Even a free 1 terabyte external hard drive with select purchases big. Call 877-BUY-DELL today to connect with a U.S.-based advisor. They are ready to help with tech solutions tailored to your business, like finding just the right Dell PCs with Intel Core processors, because your hard work is more than appreciated, it's admired. Call 877-BUY-DELL today.
What happened to paying one price and getting everything included? You buy an airline ticket and pay extra to bring a change of clothes, book a hotel room, and you're shelling out for Wi-Fi and overpriced bottled water. Shipping and handling. Really? Imagine my delight when I found out roadside assistance is now included with my shelter insurance auto policy. So if I get a flat tire or need a jump, I just call and they take care of me. No additional cost. Some restrictions apply, so learn more at shelterinsurance.com.
Ask Shelter agents Brandon Zimmerman or Chris Dooley about a free insurance review.
This is the Morning Rush.
This one was a very vivid and specific dream. I don't really have those types of dreams. But it was so specific about the Arkansas Razorback football season and what they did, how good they were, and the hope that inspired in the Razorback fan base.
Ty, did you have any idea that mushrooms were growing on the beach in Destin? Because clearly he'd been in some mushrooms or something down there.
Don't miss the Morning Rush. Weekdays from 6 till 9. Only on ESPN 95.3. You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
That's Hammonds. Has the edge, has the 50. Hammonds down the sideline. Inside the 20. He'll take it. Touchdown, Razorbacks. Hammonds breaks it. A 64-yard TD.
Back on Halftime, ESPN Arkansas, hitthatline.com. Another transfer announced to the University of Arkansas football team. Will be eligible this next year. Not one of the more exciting positions, but you could use an uptick at punter. You just hope he doesn't have to get out there as often as Reed Bauer did last year. Sam Loy, who had punted at Vanderbilt a couple of years ago, transferred to Colorado and then sat out last year, has now announced he will be transferring to Arkansas. So returning back to the SEC, where a couple of years ago, Loy averaged 41 yards per punt and kicked 12 50-yard-plus punts. So, I think that's an improvement of punts, what you had from Reed Bauer last year. Reed Bauer not on scholarship. I think Sam Loy is on scholarship.
Yeah, 12th in the SEC for Reed Bauer in punting average. That's not great. Special teams just has not been good since John, and it's just so weird coming out of my mouth, since John L. Smith left the program. There's a lot of things he did wrong. Special teams was not one of them, Phil. Hadn't had any. And I say that Limpert was not bad. Actually, Limpert was pretty solid last year. You get him back this year, so he should be pretty good. And if this guy can do kind of what he did in his past, and you hope that you can at least have some prowess from not only kicking field goals but changing the field position as well, because you're going to need it. You're just not going to have a high-powered offense. It's going to be better than last year, but it's still not going to be putting up 40 points a game.
Right. I don't remember the full numbers, but you remember, I think it was like 4 weeks into the season, we would look at the box score, and we're talking about Saturday's game on Monday and Tuesday, and you're looking at the average position where you start each drive. It was amazing, just amazing how Arkansas's average possession, and I'm guessing at what it was. I mean, their average start line was probably inside the 20-yard line.
Seemed like it.
And average start line for the opponent was around their 40. It was ridiculous. And I'm not saying that a new punter is going to change that, because you need an offense to move the ball in order for field position to have anything to do with it. But I think that this will help. It's a punter that's obviously got a bigger leg than the punter you were working with.
Not a lot of other football news, but this is also one of the tidbits that came out yesterday. The Arkansas football put this out on their Twitter page. The grass is growing in Memphis that's going on the field, Phil, and you put this on a rundown. Which is more boring, watching grass grow or watching paint dry?
I asked what's more fun. What's more fun, not what's more boring.
Sarcastic.
What's more
I sense it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this is what we're doing, before anything really important is happening. So we've
and growing in important?
Well, we've looked at, not necessarily. I mean, we've looked at the new uniform. That happened early in the week. That's nice, but in the grand scheme of it, doesn't really matter all that much. I love that the football team is actually playing on grass now. I think it's great, but how many people have been excited? And I'm not saying they're not, because it's gonna complement the look. Grass looks better than the fake stuff on a football field.
Correct.
And at the new stadium, the way that it looked last year, I think that grass will look spectacular. So I think that's great. But it's just not, it's interesting that the football Twitter account has this stop motion video essentially of watching the grass grow, and you can see it. I mean, you can see it's like this big dirt field, and towards the last 5 seconds of this video, you see all of these different construction vehicles moving around and workers that are tending to this big field, and all of a sudden a little bit of green starts to pop up, and you're thinking to yourself, I think they're supposed to get this stuff installed by the end of July and get it ready for the guys on the field practicing. So, I mean, this field is going to, transported in from 3 or 4 different trucks from Memphis to the football stadium later on this month. I feel like we should have, you should line the interstate, have people hanging out on the overpasses to cheer the grass as it is driven from one end of the state to the other.
Yeah, I guess it says Memphis. I'm thinking West Memphis because it's a little less suburban, and I would think there'd be more area out there. But yeah, that's wild, man, to see it sprout up like it is. And playing in grass is always more fun. You hope you don't have the occurrence. Was it Ohio State, Michigan, where they had to patch up in the middle of the game, like something came undone and they had to patch it up? I just remember Gus Johnson was on the call. I can't remember what game it was, but they had that huge divot in the middle of the end zone, and they had to spend a considerable amount of time on it. You hope that doesn't happen, but I'm happy that grass is coming back because I think players like playing on it more. You're not necessarily the fastest when you play on it, but as you mentioned, it does look a little better as well.
We'll go to the break in a moment. Cody texted back to us on our listener line, going back to the Grayson Allen thing. He says, and now that Grayson Allen's playing with Memphis, he says, out with Grayson, in with Dusty. I'm all for it. Dusty's not a punk, and he can shoot. We'll come back after a break, and we've got Craig Stevenson coming up from AL.com. That's next on Halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson. Follow them on Twitter at Phil Elson PXP and at Tye Sports Radio.
Get ready for Mo Fun this summer with a new Bad Boy mower and free SeaWorld or Busch Garden tickets. Let's go! Buy a Bad Boy mower this spring and own the best-built, most powerful zero-turn mower on the planet. And you'll get free tickets to SeaWorld or Busch Gardens. Have Mo Fun all the way around this summer. Drive away with a Bad Boy mower and take off to SeaWorld or Busch Gardens for the time of your life. Make your country Bad Boy country.
See the full line of Bad Boy mowers at Elma Tractor and Equipment.
Bad Boy Mowers. Mow with an attitude. Limited time offer. Participating dealers only.
True Grit Running Company is where perseverance meets passion. Whether you're training for your next marathon or just comfortable shoes to keep up with your kids, we have the gear to help you reach your goals. With our slow motion gait analysis and our extensive product knowledge, we have the right pair of shoes for you. We also carry apparel, nutrition, hydration accessories, injury prevention gear, and recovery products. We offer classes, workshops, and group runs. Lace up, show up, and get your grit on. True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Looking for a high-quality and affordable vehicle? Hertz Car Sales offers a wide selection of high-quality cars, SUVs, or trucks. Amazing customer services with affordable prices on every car. With inventory arriving daily, why not make the short drive to 2810 Midland Boulevard or give them a call at 783-1722. You can also check them out on the web at buyfromhertz.com. Trade-ins are always welcome, so stop by to Hertz Car Sales today. You'll be glad you did.
Built as user-friendly as it is budget-friendly, the Kubota Z100 zero-turn mower cuts a lawn worth admiring. With smooth controls and a rugged deck, this machine makes mowing way more comfortable. For a limited time, you can get a Z100 mower for as low as $83 a month. Now through June 30th, 2019. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for more information.
Gray Brothers Equipment on Wheeler Avenue is open for business. Stop by and see them today for the best deal on a Kubota tractor.
Was your roof damaged by recent storms? Don't fall victim to out-of-town contractors and fly-by-night repairmen. Trust the local roofing professionals at Able Roofing. Call their local number, 474-0006, for a free roof inspection. Never trust something as important as the roofing system on your home to a storm chaser. Able Roofing, 474-0006, will work with your insurance company. Call now for your free roof inspection, 474-0006. Able Roofing, the hometown roofers.
What's your next obsession? If it's diving lessons, Ocean Impact Dive Shop, Western Arkansas, and Eastern Oklahoma's premier dive shop is waiting on you. Ocean Impact is a full-service 5-star PADI dive shop offering air fills and tank inspections. The staff can answer all your questions and get you started on your underwater adventure. Ocean Impact Dive Shop, 2127 South 56th Street, Fort Smith. Don't wait, summer's just around the corner. Get to Ocean Impact Dive Shop. Go get your dive on.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Tye Richardson.
Well, the Bulldogs will kick it short, but they get it to McFadden back around the 7. He comes up to the 20, and he's off to the races. We were just talking about it. McFadden and Jones, they are mighty good, and McFadden shows it there. From the 7-yard line to the end zone, 93 yards for Darren McFadden. My goodness, they answer in a hurry.
Craig Stevenson writes for AL.com, also hosts Sports Drive on WNSP Sports Radio, covers South Alabama, is a Heisman voter, covers Alabama and Auburn, as anybody that's a sports writer or a sports host in Alabama has to do, and he joins us right now on Halftime. Craig, we appreciate your time. How you been doing?
Hey, doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
We're very, very appreciative of you joining us today. So this story that you wrote about, which came out, I think, 3 days ago on AL.com, about Nick Saban's alleged courtship from the University of Texas from the University of Alabama. Now, the rumors have been out there for a long time that this almost did happen, but apparently it has been confirmed by Tom Hicks, who's on the Board of Regents for Texas, former owner of the Dallas Stars and the Texas Rangers. Where did you find the story that Tom Hicks talked about, and how did it confirm everybody's beliefs of what almost happened?
Yes, Pat Smith, who actually used to be a producer for the Feinbaum Show, I think he has his own show, he just tweeted out a link to it, and then I went to the Dallas station website and found the full interview. I think it was originally a podcast, and they played a good bit of the podcast on the air on one of the Dallas radio stations. So that's how I found it, and it was the first thing I had seen. You know, like you said, these rumors have been out there. A lot of people have written about what may or may not have happened, off the record, on the record, whatever. But this was the first time somebody who apparently was either, in the room / on the phone had come out publicly and tried to explain exactly what went down.
So this would have been from what? Is this 8 years ago? About that?
The interview or the when this happened?
When this went down, when Saban almost made
okay,
made the change.
it would have been after 2012.
2012.
So I'm not sure when exactly. After Alabama won its second straight national championship in 2012, because Mack Brown left after 2013. So it was in that time period.
So essentially, what I gathered from this was that Saban would have made the change if Mack Brown would have stepped out of the way, but it was something that Mack Brown was not willing to do at that moment.
I think that's what Tom Hicks believes. Now, whether or not that's actually true is a good question. Jimmy Sexton, you guys, I'm sure, are familiar with the way he operates. He never stops trying to get the best deal for his clients, never stops inquiring or putting feelers out about this sort of thing. So I'm not confident this ever got to Saban's desk, quote, so to speak. I think this was more about Saban admires Texas. He knows he could win there. If there was an opening, he'd be interested in discussing it. But I don't think it ever came down to he's ready to leave Alabama right now. Again, this is Tom Hicks's point of view. Not that he has any reason to lie about it, but he certainly has an agenda here. And, I think he's a big ego guy. You guys remember he's the one who signed Alex Rodriguez to the $250 million contract with the Rangers. So I think he thinks he could have gotten anybody he wanted for Texas if it had worked out correctly. He blames it on, he went back to Mack Brown and said, Mack, hey, it might be time for you to step aside. Mack Brown blew up about it, and that was that. And the story got out. And once the story got out, Saban's agent clammed up and wouldn't take their call. So, it's believable. I believe that's probably close to what happened. I know, that's what Tom Hicks believes happened. But in terms of Saban ever having any sort of negotiations with Texas, I don't think it ever got to that point.
Talking with Craig Stevenson, AL.com, co-host of Sports Drive here on Halftime. Craig, do you ever think there was a point in time in Nick Saban's tenure at Alabama, and this applies to now, well, obviously, because he's still there, that he considered leaving the Crimson Tide for another offer?
That's hard to say. I think that if he had been approached with the right offer, it might have happened. After 13, 14, right in that area where, they won championships in 09, 11, and 12. 13, they lose on the kick six to Auburn. 14, they make the playoff but lose in the first round to Ohio State. And there was a lot of rumbling going on. Hey, they haven't won a national championship in 2 years. What's going on? Is this the and Saban publicly came out, and his wife did too. That's like, we can't understand why people aren't happy with that people are dissatisfied with playing for championships just because you didn't win. I think there was some of that. I don't think he ever came close to leaving. I don't think he ever, for example, the NFL things have come up a couple of times. It seems like he's happy. It seems like, the tornado in 2011 seemed like it had a big effect on him in terms of his ties to the community in Tuscaloosa. So I find it hard to believe, although before he got to Alabama, he'd never stayed anywhere longer than 5 years. So I think there may have been a few instances where he maybe got the itch to look around a little bit, but in terms of ever actually negotiating anything that fell through or going back to Alabama and said, give me a contract extension or I'm leaving, I don't think that ever happened.
Craig, we love comparisons in sports. You think Montana Brady, Jordan James, and then in college football, particularly in Tuscaloosa, it's Paul Bear Bryant and Nick Saban. What does he have to do to pass Bear Bryant in the minds of every Alabama fan?
Well, I think in the minds of the rational, studied Alabama fans, he already has, to me. I think there are the old guard that, were around during the entire Bryant era that will never think that anybody was ever better than him. But if you study it objectively, Saban has won championships in a much harder system. Bryant won national championships in years in which he lost bowl games. You can't do that anymore. You have to beat 2 top 4 teams to win a national championship in your last 2 games. That wasn't the case with Bryant. Bryant won a national championship in 1979 by beating 9th-ranked Arkansas in the Sugar Bowl. You know, you're not going to do that now. It's where Bryant gets some credit, I think, is obviously the longevity. He was at Alabama for 25 years. He won in 2 really distinct eras of football. He won during the everybody plays both ways, single platoon era. He won in the free substitution era. He won with a pro-style offense. He won with the wishbone. He won before integration. He won after integration. So those things are kind of feathers in Bryant's caps. But in terms of difficulty in winning championships, Saban's got that all day.
You used a term there, Craig, that I wanted to ask about. Rational Alabama fan. Describe to me what a rational Alabama fan is.
It's a good question. Maybe I'm, it may not really exist now that you mention it.
I don't even know if it's just Alabama. It's just overall college football sometimes.
It's true. Yeah. I think that people who have been around, like I said, there are people that are in their 60s and 70s who have kind of, their worldviews are completely formed and nothing's going to change them. Those are the people that maybe cling to Bryant. And obviously Bryant was incredible. I mean, I don't think any of us thought that we would ever see his equal. But, again, if you just measure it objectively, if you look at what Saban's accomplished, if you look at the teams he's had to beat, if you look at the volume of games that he's won, to me it's clearly Saban at this point. Now, the one thing you do have to consider is that Saban may have a decline phase. There may be I don't think it'll ever come to this. I think he would quit before it got to that point. But what if Saban goes to the next 10 years and doesn't win another championship? Then you've got
that'd be great, Craig. We'd love that over
there.
Well,
us in Arkansas, I think everybody here would be cheering that on.
I don't think it'll ever come to that. But I'm just saying that, Bryant, by the end, he was losing to teams like Southern Miss at home. He lost to a Georgia Tech team coached by Bill Curry, which, galled people twice, then when Curry became head coach at Alabama. But then he quit, and then obviously shortly after that died. I don't think Saban's ever going to let it get to that point to where his team is not playing for championships.
I sometimes wonder if legacies against another legendary coach necessarily, or what coaches are trying to attain. You're going out there trying to win every game, win a championship. In Alabama, that's what's expected. And it's tough to try to measure yourself up to somebody like a Bear Bryant or a Joe Paterno or, Darryl Royal, anything like that. Do you think that measuring up to Bear Bryant means much right now to Nick Saban, or is he just worried about what he's got in front of him right now?
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think so. Obviously there's ego involved, and he is. There are times when he's been I guess he's not technically the highest paid coach in college football, but I think there were times when that was important to him. But in terms of being like the classic Ted Williams line, he wants to walk down the street and say, "There goes the greatest coach that ever lived." I'm not sure that's what Nick Saban necessarily wants.
Okay, so the last question would be, let's say Nick Saban did leave. Let's say he went over to Texas in 2012. What would the SEC look like right now?
It's a good question. Would Urban Meyer, I guess, was already gone by that point. What happens with Auburn? What happens with Les Miles at LSU?
Is Dabo Swinney the Alabama coach if Nick Saban was gone?
At that point, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look exactly. There was that point where Clemson had lost their bowl game to West Virginia where they gave up 70 points. I'm trying to remember exactly when that was, and if the timing what the timing looked like right there. Yeah, that's a good question. If Saban had left in 2012, I don't have any idea who would have been the coach at that point. I guess if Urban Meyer was available, he might have been in the mix. Man, that's a good question.
Sounds like something to do a little research on, right? I think that'll be a good place to end it.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Craig, it was a great piece. Appreciate you coming on to talk about it. Enjoy SEC Media Days next week. My boy Ty's headed down there,
he's
too.
He's on vacation next week, Phil. We were talking about it.
How do you pull that off?
He lucked out, man.
Sure did.
Yeah, I got lucky.
Well, enjoy vacation, which I think will be better than SEC Media Days. And we appreciate your time coming on today, Craig.
All right, thanks for having me.
You got it. Craig Stevenson, sports host, sports writer, AL.com right there in Birmingham. And we'll come back to put a cherry on the top of this week on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Shooters shoot. You're listening to Halftime.
What it's doing to me ain't a secret.
At Brankroll Furniture, we have always been involved in supporting and giving back to our community. During the